Ukrainian National Guard units have released new figures from the Dobrapilya operation, revealing months of intense fighting, heavy losses, and major territorial changes. President Zelensky says upcoming January meetings with US and European partners could gradually open the path toward negotiations with Russia. The Kremlin has restated its conditions for ending the war and confirmed that a new phone call between Putin and Donald Trump is expected soon. Russia has passed a new law blocking the enforcement of foreign criminal court rulings, directly impacting war-related cases. Ukrainian forces report stopping a Russian river-crossing attempt near Shakhov after detecting and striking a moving column. Before we continue with the full details, make sure to subscribe for clear, timely, and verified updates from the war in Ukraine. The 1st National Guard Corps Azov has reported the results of its Dobrapilya offensive operation, covering the period from August 4 to December 29. According to the statement, the operation took place in a strategically important area west of Donetsk, where control of terrain directly affects supply routes and operational depth for both sides. Over nearly 5 months, Ukrainian units engaged in sustained combat involving artillery exchanges, armored assaults, drone warfare, and infantry clashes. The Corps reports that Russian forces suffered 12,492 killed, 8,346 wounded, and 185 captured during this period. These numbers reflect the intensity of attritional warfare that has defined much of the fighting in eastern Ukraine. Equipment losses were also significant. Ukrainian forces claim to have destroyed or damaged 93 tanks, 259 armored vehicles, and 314 artillery systems. In addition, more than 1,800 vehicles were reportedly taken out of service, along with 3,579 drones. The high number of drone losses underscores how central unmanned systems have become to reconnaissance, targeting, and strike missions on both sides. Territorially, Ukrainian forces report liberating approximately 175 square kilometers of land. A further 195 square kilometers were described as cleared of sabotage and reconnaissance groups, a process that typically involves systematic sweeps, securing settlements, and stabilizing rear areas to prevent infiltration. While independent verification of the figures remains difficult, the report illustrates the scale and duration of the fighting around Dobrapilya and highlights how progress in this conflict is often measured over months rather than days. President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that meetings planned for January with partners in the United States and Europe could help lay the groundwork for future negotiations with Russia. According to Zelensky, the process would begin at the advisor level, allowing preliminary discussions to take place before any potential talks between national leaders. He also mentioned a planned coalition of the Willing Summit in Paris, expected to bring together countries supporting Ukraine. The goal of the summit is to coordinate military assistance, political positions, and long-term security planning. While not a formal alliance, the coalition concept reflects an effort to maintain unity and consistency among Ukraine's partners. Zelensky emphasized that negotiations would only move forward step by step. If early discussions prove productive, the process could eventually lead to direct meetings with Russian representatives. His remarks suggest that Kyiv is keeping diplomatic channels open while remaining cautious about timing and conditions. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov reiterated Russia's position that Ukraine must withdraw its troops from the Donbas region as a condition for ending the war. This demand has been a consistent element of Moscow's public statements and remains a major point of disagreement between the two sides. Peskov also confirmed that a new phone call between Vladimir Putin and former US President Donald Trump will take place in the near future. While details about the timing and content of the call were not disclosed, such contacts often attract attention due to their potential political significance. At this stage, there is no indication that the call will lead to immediate changes in Russia's position or affect ongoing military operations. However, it reflects continued communication at high political levels amid a prolonged conflict. Vladimir Putin has signed a law banning the enforcement of foreign criminal court rulings in Russia unless they are based on a United Nations Security Council resolution or an international treaty involving Russia. The legislation effectively blocks the implementation of decisions from courts such as the International Criminal Court. The move is widely seen as targeting rulings like the ICC arrest warrant issued against Putin over alleged war crimes in Ukraine, as well as any potential future tribunals addressing Russia's actions during the conflict. By limiting the legal authority of foreign courts, the law reinforces Russia's long-standing position on sovereignty and judicial independence. Domestically, the legislation ensures that international legal decisions will have no practical effect unless Moscow has formally agreed to them. Internationally, it underscores the legal and political divide between Russia and institutions investigating alleged violations linked to the war. Operators from Ukraine's 33rd Mechanized Brigade reported destroying a Russian column attempting to cross the Kazeniy Torets River near the village of Shakhov in eastern Ukraine. According to Ukrainian sources, Russian forces tried to bypass a destroyed bridge by using quad bikes, aiming to move troops quickly across the river using light, mobile vehicles. The Kazeniy Torets River runs through a contested area where natural obstacles play an important role in shaping battlefield conditions. Bridges in this region have frequently been targeted, forcing both sides to search for alternative crossing methods. In this case, Russian units appear to have chosen speed and maneuverability over protection, relying on quad bikes to reduce exposure time during the crossing attempt. Ukrainian forces detected the movement at an early stage. Reconnaissance drones monitored the column as it approached the riverbank, allowing Ukrainian units to assess the situation in real time. Once the crossing attempt was confirmed, Ukrainian forces launched a coordinated strike to disrupt the operation before any troops could establish positions on the opposite side. The attack resulted in the destruction of multiple vehicles while the Russian column was still in a highly vulnerable phase. River crossings, particularly without proper engineering support, exposed troops to significant risk due to limited cover and predictable movement routes. Ukrainian units exploited these conditions to prevent the crossing from being completed. The use of quad bikes suggests the Russian forces involved were likely conducting a limited maneuver, possibly a reconnaissance or probing action, rather than a large-scale assault. Light vehicles can move quickly and navigate difficult terrain, but they offer minimal protection once detected. In this case, detection proved decisive. By stopping the crossing attempt, Ukrainian forces denied Russian units the opportunity to gain a foothold on the far bank of the river. Such positions can be used to support further advances, disrupt defensive lines, or threaten supply routes. Maintaining control over river crossings remains a key defensive objective in many sectors of the front. The area near Shakhov has experienced ongoing localized fighting, with both sides attempting to test defenses and exploit weaknesses. While the engagement did not involve large formations, its outcome reflects broader patterns seen along the Eastern Front, where progress often depends on small, tactical actions rather than major breakthroughs. The incident also highlights the growing role of drones in modern combat. Continuous aerial surveillance reduces the ability of forces to maneuver unseen, especially in open terrain or near natural obstacles like rivers. Even small-scale movements are increasingly detected and targeted within minutes. For Ukrainian units, rapid response and effective coordination between reconnaissance and strike elements continue to be critical. The reported engagement near the Kazeniy Torets River demonstrates how timely information and quick decision-making can neutralize threats before they escalate. As the conflict continues, similar attempts to cross rivers and bypass damaged infrastructure are likely to occur. Each such engagement contributes to the evolving tactical landscape, where mobility, surveillance, and control of key terrain features remain central to operations on both sides.